So I was feeling pretty good about tonight. I logged into online shopping and I bought a nice hair pin, like a nice hairpin, a nice bracelet, a really nice t-shirt which I hope fits me because I put in an extra large because it said extra large was a size 14 and I was like, I hope that fits. And there was one other thing that I bought with the order, and it cost like $50. And I said, well, oh yeah, just some food. And so it cost like $50, and I was like, I do feel a little bit guilty about buying that, but I don't feel very bad at all. So I felt as though it was a really good value purchase on things which I hardly ever get to buy. But then I continued on shopping, and I ended up at this silly cheap jewelry store online. They're having a massive sale. Everything's $5 and under, except for some things which were the full price of $15 and $20. So most things though I bought for $5 and under, and I spend over $100 literally at this website because it has. I was really fascinated with the ring. I was gonna not buy anything because I was like, I've already bought from this other online store and I'm very happy with it. I don't really need to buy these cheaper value products just to be able to wear whenever I want because they're cheaper. No one's going to want to snatch them. They're usually made out of some synthetic material. So I'm like, I don't really need these cheap jewelries. But then I fell in love with, this sparkly ring that's like fit for all sizes. And since my finger is slimming down, I thought, oh, that might be a nice little ring for me. So, of course, it cost an atrocious $18, which is what I never buy at a cheap jewelry store. Literally, it's a good value, but I don't buy that. I don't buy cheap things for that much. But it looked really sparkly and really pretty, and I was like, ooh, that looks like a great ring. And I was like, but it's almost $20. And I was like, oh, shoot, just buy it. And then I fell in love with this other ring, which was of a butterfly, which was like $15. I said, really? Do I really want to buy this butterfly ring? And so, I hummed and hawed, and then I was like, okay, let's just add it to the list just in case. And so, I just kept adding one thing after another. I have had like four chokers, a few rings, a few cuff bracelets, one stretchy bracelet, and another bracelet. So it's like five bracelets. And I was like, you know, I wrote them all down in a list at their full value so that if I want to try and sell them, I can. But I was like, this is an atrocious amount of money on cheap jewelry. And I was like, I really shouldn't. And then I just pressed the buy button and I just purchased a whole lot of them. And so I've got like this little store of cheap jewelry coming my way as well as that more quality jewelry that I went with the first order. So I sort of wish that I had just stuck to that first order, but I bought the other items at like 2 past 12 and their sales ends at 12, so I might get an email tomorrow saying, oh, you bought a little bit past 12 o'clock, which was past the sale date, and so we will have to refund your order and cancel it or something. So I think they've done that before when I've ordered a little bit past the sale. And so there is a possibility that I might get a full refund and a cancellation of that order because I made the order at a little bit past 12 when the sale finished at 12 o'clock typically. But if that order does process and I get all these cheap items, I'm going to just hide them. I'll probably hide them in that table or something. I'm just going to just hide them somewhere and be like, oh my gosh, that is just a guilt trip just waiting to happen because I don't have any chokers and I don't have any cuffs. And though that they're particularly cheap jewelry, I was like, well, I don't have any of those things to, dress up in. And I don't have the cheap versions. I've got like the 24 karat versions of jewelry, but I don't have the cheap versions. So when I want to go out just for fun, I don't have the cheap versions of jewelry. So I've only got the real gold jewelry, which I've been collecting for some time. And I'm like, should I or shouldn't I? And then I'm like thinking, well, if I want, and I just bought it, I just bought everything. So I'm feeling a little bit bad. Had a shower after 12 and it's probably getting on to 12:30 now. And I was like, I am feeling a little bit bad over the purchase. Like the first one, no problem. The first one is the one that I wanted. But then the second one, I'm like, I just thought, should I or shouldn't I? And then I said, fuck. And then I just said, screw it. Let's just buy everything. And then I'll have a store of cheap jewelry that I can wear day in, day out, until, they grow useless. So it's true that a lot of those necklaces that I bought may not be the right kind of necklaces for me, so I might end up reselling those. But if they are all okay, I'll just have things that I just haven't ever bought. Like I was considering buying a real gold chain that's short. I was considering buying that, but that costs like $70 there, and that's for a short one. So you're like going, well, I paid 150 for all these different things, and I was like, it's just really to have fun because I don't have the cheap versions, like I said, and I thought, well, I don't need that short necklace if I've got cheap versions of short necklaces. So, um, and literally, I just have to sell like two items that I bought, and then it's like reduced down to a little bit more. So, um, they were bought at like more than half the price. So I was like, well, I can make some money back, but I don't know. All in all, I just think, I'm gonna get paid this Tuesday, I think, or next Tuesday. So it should even out because when I get paid, I'll be like resupplemented, and it's not a lot of money. It's just more than I feel comfortable spending at one time. And so I was like, let's just leave it that, and I'll try really, 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 really hard not to shop for a long time. I literally don't need to spend money. So I've been saving lots of money automatically by not being close to stores, not buying, my takeaway every week. And so I'm saving hundreds of dollars. And if I were renting, I'd be spending hundreds more dollars on a rental. So it's sort of evening out to just a temporary guilt trip until I get the jewelry and see what it's all like. Because I just bought it online and I was like, I have no idea if I'll like it or not. But I really hate to spend that much on cheap jewelry. Like the first order, I was like, that's cool. But the second order, I was like, that was just way too much on cheap jewelry. And I'm like, well, I don't actually have cuffs or anything. So I'm gonna all my watches ran out, and so I was thinking I do need something for my wrist because my watches don't work anymore, so I'm not wearing any jewelry right now. So you know, so I'm just waiting till later to get those watches fixed when I'm back in civilization, living closer to stores. But yeah, so I was like, I should feel guilty, but I do always spend like $50 here and there on jewelry every now and again. I have a huge store of jewelry. If I had all my jewelry, I'd be like, I wouldn't need to buy anything, but I don't have any of my jewelry. But I bought things that I don't have, even if I did have access to my store of jewelry. I don't have like the short necklaces because long necklaces I hate, and short necklaces suit my neck a lot better because I just look terrible in long necklaces. So I was like, well, I don't have any short necklaces. I don't have any cuff bracelets. But I think the cuff bracelets are probably going to annoy me because they might be a little bit too cheap. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if this was a good idea at all, but I did it. I was like, I'll just have to, regret until I get the stuff to see what I want and see what I don't want. And if I want it all, I just shove it somewhere and wear each item one at a time until I've used it. But yeah, it's the necklaces I wasn't sure about because I don't really like to wear necklaces. Sometimes I think, oh, I wish I had a short necklace to wear, but um, and the rings, I'm not sure about the rings either. I might be selling at least two of them because I'm not sure if they'll fit in my finger. And the two ones that I wanna keep, I hope they do fit in my finger. So yeah, but I don't know. I'll just have to see. So I'll have a very large opening, but this is gotta be the last thing I spend for until the end of the year because I am so sick and tired of losing money. I'm like, I really don't need these things, and then I'm like, yes, I do, and then I'm like, no, I don't, and then I'm like, yeah. So I'm gonna be guilt tripping for a whole month because I've totally over exhumed my budget this month. I've spent a lot of money because I needed all my vitamins and I needed more clothes, and I wanted a few hair pieces, and yeah, so I've sort of over exhumed my budget this month, and so I'm like, I can't wait for this month to be over because then I'll be like, and then I'll feel better, and then I'll be like, yes, I've caught up on my excessive spending habits.